Good morning everybody, I hope you are all okay. It is just coming up to 9 o'clock this morning and I've got quite a lot of things I want to get through today. I've just done a final harvest in the garden. I'll show you what we've got in a second, but I just want to ask if anybody out there has got or had sciatica, please put in the comments below what you did to help ease that pain. It is in my right leg, it is starting at the top and it goes all the way down to my ankle. It is driving me absolutely batty at the moment. So even though I've got, if I was doing this at a normal pace, probably a couple of hours worth of work looking at my pile that I've got. But for me today, I'm spreading it over the day with regular breaks and just making sure that I look after myself first, to make sure that I can stay healthy enough to keep going and doing what I need to do. If you have not been here before, this is the channel Trying to Get By, where I just show you what I'm up to in my home and garden, as I'm, like everybody else, trying to get by with a bit less money and trying to use a lot less fuel and resources, etc. For those of you who've been here before, welcome back. So have a look at what I have got from the garden. Here we go. This is what we have got that we are going to deal with today. So tomatoes. This is the last of the tomatoes now. We have had so many. There are some green ones down at the bottom that I'm going to pop on the window ledge for a week or so, see if they turn red. If they don't, I'm going to make some kind of green chutney pickle or something. We have got some apples. This is a mixture of apples off my tree, plus some apples that I got in one of my, I think it was in my Too Good To Go bag. There are also some pears that my friend Rachel has given me that I'm going to use as well. This is just my beetroot haul. I've got a mixture of red beetroots, white beetroots and rainbow beetroots. Then I've got my carrots. There are a few stray potatoes in the carrot bed. We appear to have a friendly little snail here. Let's have a quick look at that. There we go. There he is. I'll put him back in the garden. And don't mind snails, they can live their lives too. So we've got carrots, so we've got standard orange, we have got some yellows and we have got some purples. And the plan today is, if we have a look here, tomatoes, collect whole, process the red ones, green on the window ledge, so processing them. I'm either going to cook them down to make a tomato sauce, or some of the big ones I think I'm going to roast in the oven. So that's the plan for those. The carrots I'm going to prep, so give a good clean up and parboil them. Some are going to go into a chutney with some of the apple. The beetroots I'm going to prep by parboiling them. Then the carrots and beetroot are just going to go in the freezer. Apples, I'm going to do a slow cooker apple butter. I'm going to make some apple cake, and if I've got anything left, because I've still got a few left on the tree that I've not collected yet, I am just going to dice up or slice up and just freeze those ready for making pies or cakes. So that's the plan. First thing first, let's go and rescue this snail and put him in the garden. Well, that's all that bag of pears and apples chopped up. I got a bit carried away chopping up these ones. I don't think they're going to fit, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to cook these for a little while and then squish it down, because obviously the ones at the bottom will cook quicker. Squish it down and then top those up. It doesn't matter if those go a bit brown, because they're all going to get cooked down anyway, and apple butter, when you're finished with it, is quite a dark brown colour anyway. So I've done that. I've washed my beetroots, so they're done. And I'm going to go and have a little bit of a sit down now and a bit of a rest before I tackle the next thing. So I did manage to eventually fit in the last of the apple. This has been on for about 2.5 hours now. So I'm just leaving that alone. That'll keep going now for at least another 3.5 hours before I have to do anything with it. Moving on, I said that my beetroot had been done. I've just given these potatoes a wash. Skip that a second. Over here, all my carrots are washed. Now some of them are in absolutely beautiful condition, so these will be the ones that I chop up and put in. So we're going to chop them up, blanch them in some hot water for a few minutes just to get them going, and then leave to cool and put in some freezer bags. The ones that are a little bit more gnarly and dodgy, I will be trimming off the ends of those and grating these to go into a carrot and apple chutney. In the meantime, back to this. These are some of the really tender tops of the carrots. I've just given those a rinse. Now I'm going to make a carrot top pesto. Never made it before, going to give that a go. But I'm not going to do that now because with us being vegetarian, we don't use Parmesan, and I like to use nutritional yeast in my pesto. And I've run out completely, and when I went to do some shopping over the weekend, there was none in the shop. So I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that. So hopefully when I go shopping this Thursday, I will see some nutritional yeast to be able to use for that. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do with these is I'm just going to lay them out, still slightly damp, on this tea towel. I'm just going to spread them about. Don't lose any off the edge. And all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to leave a very slight edge there, and I'm just going to gently roll it up. I do this with lettuce as well, and it seems to keep it quite well. Roll that up to the end, and I'm just going to pop that in the fridge. So what I've done next is I have chopped my good carrots and popped them in here, just nice big chunks. Then I can decide what to do with them when I need them out of the freezer. I've got some beetroot in here. So these are my big beetroot. These are my middle-sized beetroot. Oop, let it focus. And these are my smaller beetroot. So I'm going to cook the big beetroot for about 5 minutes, then pop in my next ones for another couple of minutes, and then pop in the little ones for a couple of minutes. All I want from these is just enough to get the skins off. That's why I'm not too worried. Oh, excuse me, I've got hiccups. I'm not too worried about this kind of furriness on the outside because I'm going to be pulling that skin off anyway. Over here, I've got the carrots that are either a bit too small for what I want or are looking like this one, a bit gnarly. So these ones I am going to trim off and chop out any of the bad bits and then just grate those up, ready for my chutney. So all I'm going to do now is I've just got some boiling water and I'm going to get these going. Like I say, the beetroot so I can get the skins off, and the carrots just to take the edge off the cook. And in good sense, as my mother would always tell me, put the lid on. It will definitely save you a bit of energy. So this beetroot has just come out of the pan. I let it cool for a few minutes, and this is all I wanted to be able to do. Not cook it all the way through, just to be able to cook it enough to peel the skins off. So that's all good. So I'm just going to finish peeling those. And if I have noticed a little spot, I'm just going to trim that off. All good. And then all as I'm doing, let me just show you once I've peeled them. Bring the camera over here. So I've just got these ones still to peel. Carrots are out. So I've just put them on this tray, and all I'm going to do is pop this tray into the freezer and freeze them all separately. So then when I do bag them up, they're not all going to stick together. So that's where I'm up to with that. I've also grated all the other carrots and an apple, but I've noticed how juicy these apples are, so they're going to break down really quite easily. So instead, with the other 4 apples that I have peeled, I'm just going to dice those up to go in the chutney. So I'm just going to finish peeling that beetroot and then crack on with the chutney. So we're doing quite well on our journey through sorting out all these fruits and vegetables today. Let me find my list and see where I'm up to. Tomatoes, collect all, processed red, green on window ledge. So I've got all my tomatoes on a tray ready to go in the oven later. I have got all the green ones in a bowl ready to go on the window ledge, and the leftover ones that are all the small tiny red ones are going to go in the fridge for now, and I'll probably end up using them in a couple of pastas over the next week. Carrots, we have prepped and parboiled and they're ready to go in the freezer. On our way with a chutney. The beetroots are prepped, parboiled and ready to go in the freezer. Apple butter is in the slow cooker. Apple cake, not got to yet. Chop and freeze. I don't think I'm going to get to the chopping and the freezing today of the rest of the apples on the apple tree, because there's still quite a few left, and I'm not that good at bending and stretching at the moment to reach all the rest of those apples. We'll give you a bit of an update. Have managed to speak to a doctor today. Yay, that's an accomplishment. And have been given some medication. So fingers crossed that'll start kicking in. Let me tell you what I've got. We have got some naproxen, some Zapane and some amitriptyline to take at night. If you have taken any of those medications before, I've had the Zapane before for pain in the past, but let me know in the comments if you have had a try of any of those and if there's anything I should be watching out for. And I can just hear, you might not be able to, some popping sound, which is because I have just started cooking the mustard seeds for the chutney. We'll go and get on with that. Here we go. Mustard seeds are pip-popping away. So I am going to go in with some chili flakes. Now I'm doing this in the Instant Pot, so I'm just going to cancel that saute function. We're going to go in there with some chili flakes. Going to go in quite a few because we've got quite a few, quite a big amount of stuff to cook off. I'm just going to give that a little stir. All I did was the mustard seeds were in a little bit of oil, which are now attacking me. So I'm going to go in with our chopped apple and our carrots. Excuse me. Ooh, those mustard seeds got the back of my throat. There we go. Give that a little bit of a mix. Now I've gone quite chunky with the other pieces of apple. So now that that has calmed down a little bit and my nose has woken up. Excellent. So what we're going to go in with next is we have got some vinegars. Now the recipe that I have used in the past goes for balsamic vinegar. So I'm going to do a split between apple cider vinegar. So I'm going to go in with probably about half a cup of apple cider. Now this other vinegar I'm going in with is a balsamic, but this is my fig and date balsamic. Now it says cream vinegar because it's a lot thicker. Let me show you. Much thicker. So I'm only going to go in with probably just about a quarter of a cup of that, because it is very nice and rich. Smells lovely. Then if you're just using standard balsamic, I'd probably go for 1/3 of a cup. And then in with some brown sugar. So for this quantity and that much vinegar, and these apples are quite tart, I'm going to go in with 1/3 of a cup to start with. Give that a bit of a mix. Now, looking at how much I've got, I'm judging I'm going to need a little bit more sugar. So I'm going to go in with another, that's half of 1/3 of a cup. So 1/3 and 1/6. Then I'm going to put this on the slow cooker function, which again, I've never done this chutney on a slow cooker function, but we're going to give it a go, see what happens. This is all about learning and experimenting, and that's the one thing I like about doing cooking. So on with the lid, on with slow cook, there, for an hour on high. Let's go 45 minutes on high. Oh, I can only do an hour or half an hour. Well, let's go for an hour and I will see how it does. But I'll probably check it in 45 minutes anyway, so I might set a timer on my clock. Over here, we have got our apple for our apple butter, which has softened down. So I'm going to go in with the stick blender and puree this up, because that's what it says to do next. So I will get on with that. I've just turned around and I've just spotted my onion. That was meant to go in my chutney. I was meant to saute that off at the beginning and I completely forgot. See, addled brain at the moment. I'm just going to stop the slow cooker and chuck it in and see what happens. I think it'll still work because I'm cooking it down for long enough. I'm going to throw that in a second. Back over here, this apple butter has been processed right down, pureed down. This is going to keep going for another 5 hours. But now at this point, I'm going to put in some sugar. I'm going to go in with about 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar. I'm going to put a little bit of cinnamon in. So I've got some cinnamon. I don't want to put too much in because I'm not a massive fan of cinnamon. So that's probably a teaspoon, which for this quantity is quite a low amount. But I'm going to use the hand blender to mix all this in. Okay, and now the important bit, you're going to taste. Yep, that's probably going to intensify. It's quite a low level of cinnamon, but I can imagine over time, and as this reduces, it's going to intensify, so I'm quite happy with that. That's quite nice, actually. So, tap that off, leave that to do its thing, put the lid on, and I'll still be looking at this at, well, what are we on now? It's 5 to 5, so this will still be going on at 10 o'clock tonight, but that'll be absolutely fine. Now to go and put the onions in this slow cooker. Oh well, these things happen. So we're finally onto our apple cakes. So I've got 6 eggs that I need using up. So my normal recipe would be 225 grams of butter, sugar, flour with 4 eggs. So I had a couple of extra eggs. We're going to go for 337 grams of everything to go with our 6 eggs. So I'm going to start with my butter, which is a 450 gram pack, so I'm going to use quite a lot of that. So let's go in with that first. What are we up to? That's pretty much it. Once we've got the bits off here, that'll be enough. And today I'm going to use brown sugar instead of white sugar because I think it'll just add a nice flavour with the apple. So let's zero that back and go in with our 337 of our brown sugar, which I think is going to be all of that. And I think I need some more. Have a root in the cupboard. There we go. You've got a bit more. So let's go in with that. Oh, well over. That's the problem with sugar, it comes out so fast. Let's decant it into our container. See what we can scoop out. Let's use the scoop. So 337. Oh, not too bad. That'll do. I always like to keep a scoop measure in with things like my flours and my sugars, just that it makes it a lot easier for when you need to prepare a recipe, because you've got the scoop already and you don't have to go rooting in a drawer to find one. So we're going to blend this all together. Scrape off that little bit of excess butter that we used. There we go. And give this a bit of a whiz. Right, next I'm going in with my eggs. So I've got 6 eggs. Okay, last 2. Whoop! A little bit of shell snuck in there. Could always add nuts and pretend that it was meant to be crunchy. Whoops, never mind. I suppose I should be really good and do it over in a little pot and put them in one at a time, but I can't be bothered. I'm too lazy, and plus I don't like washing up. So mix the eggs in. So I've got my mix here. I've chopped up 4 apples into smallish pieces, and we're going to add the apple till it looks about the right amount, because I don't want to overwhelm it with apple, but I want enough so, whoops, sorry about that, so that people can actually go, oh yes, this is apple. So what are we thinking? A little bit more? Let's see. Well, if I'm going to put that in, I might as well put the last little bit in. There we go. So that's enough. That was 4 apples worth. Now, I know that these apples are really quite juicy, as I said before when I was grating them for the chutney. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit more flour than I would normally do. So it's meant to be 337. So we're going to put the 337 in and then have a look at the density of the batter. This is probably going to tell me it's overweight and won't be able to cope with the 0. Oh no, it can. That's unusual. Normally it tells me too heavy, can't deal. So let's go in. This is self-raising flour. So that is 200. I'm going to go in 400 grams, I reckon. Okay. Yeah, that's just shy of 400 grams. So we're going to give that a mix and see how it turns out. Carefully mixing it. This is going to be good. It's going to be quite a thick batter, but like I say, once the apple starts cooking, it's definitely going to loosen it up. The brown sugar definitely adds something to it. Shall I put a little bit of cinnamon? Can't even say the word today. Some cinnamon in with that. Because it is a classic flavour. There we go. I'm spilling cinnamon all over the place. Just spilt cinnamon in the drawer. I'll have to give that a bit of a wipe in a bit. So, there we go. Give that a mix. Well, I didn't manage to flick flour everywhere, but I spilt the cinnamon, so that's pretty typical of me. So there is our mixture. I have got some little cake cases. These are not muffin size, these are cupcake size, so these are a bit smaller. So all that I'm going to do is go in with a good blob of cake, and I have a feeling I'm going to be making quite a few of these. So I've got 2 trays to go, so that's 24. This is definitely going to make more than 24. So I will finish doing these, because you don't want to watch me just filling cake cases for the next 10 minutes. And then we'll get these in the oven, and while they're in the oven I will pop my tomatoes in that I've prepped as well, and all I'm going to do with those, in fact let me get them out and show you. So all as I've done with these is just sliced in half the big ones, left the slightly smaller ones. I'm going to just drizzle some oil on top of these and sprinkle it with either some mixed herbs or Italian herbs depending on what I've got, and those will go in at the same time as the cakes. Tomatoes are all done. I am literally just going to pop these into a jar and into the fridge. Over here, cakes all done, lovely and toasty. Chris gave them the seal of approval. They took 20 minutes, or just shy of 20 minutes. Keep an eye on them obviously with your oven at about 175 fan. So that's about 195 normal, so a little bit higher in temperature than I would normally do, but they came out absolutely fine because I couldn't be bothered doing 2 temperatures for the cakes and the tomatoes. Now, whizzing over here, this chutney's taking ages. So like I said before, I've not done this in the slow cooker before, so let's see where we're up to. I've had it on the full hour, and now I'm gonna just take the steam off. And it's just not cooking down in the same way as it would do if I was making it in a pan. But I will sorry, you can't even see that. But I will persevere, because I want it so that the apple goes nice and soft. And it's getting there. But I think I'm going to carry on for another 45 minutes. So the rest of that time that I had on there. And keep on with that. The apple butter is doing its thing. Leaving that alone now. It's 10 to 7, so I'm just going to leave that till about 10 o'clock and then see where we're up to. Okay, this chutney's all finished. The apple is nice and soft. Chris has tasted it and he says he likes it. It's got a little bit of a kick to it, which he enjoys on his sandwiches. So that's done. I'm going to can that. Well, I say can. I'm going to put it in some nice little jars that I've got from Amazon. I'll put a link below if you want to get some of them. They were quite cheap. Apple butter is lovely and thick and really, really good. I was right with the amount of cinnamon. It did heighten it up a tiny bit more, but not too much. And that as well is going to be popped into some of those jars and saved. And we are all good. It has been a productive day. Let's swing round and have a chat about it. Well, it is dark out now. I am done. I am also done in. My leg is really hurting. I have taken some of my tablets. Hopefully it will take the edge off, and I will take my main one this evening, and hopefully in the morning I will feel like a new woman. It will be great, and I can walk around and get jobs done without having to take so many breaks in between. It's exhausting. It's almost like the rests are more exhausting because I feel as though I can't get on and get things done, which is what I like to do. I like to be productive. So we've still done stuff, even though it was a bit of a slower pace today. Thank you for joining me in and around the kitchen with my harvest and everything that we managed to collect. Didn't quite finish off the list. Still got loads of apples on the tree that I want to prep and put away for the winter, but I will get on with that on another day. Thank you for watching. Please do the liking and subscribing, and I will see you next time.